Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us. I'm Katy. I am the founder of Joy Women's Wellness. I started Joy to really help women feel better and to actually finally feel heard in healthcare. I wanted to provide education and access to therapies that were very transformational in my own personal life. So at Joy, what we do is we really look at things holistically. We love to run big comprehensive labs up to 110 biomarkers. And that just gives us a lot of data to go on. And then we have clinician visits to go over the data, to listen to your symptoms and your goals, and to create a personalized support plan for your health journey. So, what we're here today to do is provide some awesome information. I am so thrilled that Dr. Kelly Casperson is with us today. She really does not need an intro. I know you all know who she is, but she's a physician, a podcaster, and now a two-time author. Her latest book is called The Menopause Movement. Dr. Kelly, I want to thank you really for being a fierce advocate for women, and especially one of the few that's always led the way for female testosterone, because for me, it was the first thing that I did, and it was truly transformational. And we really believe in allowing women to have education and access to it. It's obviously a personal choice, but it's really been hidden for so long. So I want to thank you for that advocacy, what you do, and then also for joining us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Awesome. All right. So everybody in the chat, let us know where you're from. And then what we really want to do is make this worth your time. So we're going to answer all your questions. We had some people type in questions before, but just put them in the chat because we want you to get all the information that you need. And this is such a rare opportunity to get answers from Dr. Kelly Casperson herself. So pop them in there, and then I'll just start off with few ones that I'm curious about with your new book. I want to know like what inspired you to write the menopause movement, and if there was a moment where you're like, this needs to be a book.
Yeah. So the first book came out that's called "You Are Not Broken: Stop Shoulding All Over Your Sex Life," and it did really well. And the publisher said, "Will you write another book about sex?" And this is probably like 2.5, 3 years ago. And so I saw menopause coming, right? Like as a movement. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll write another book about sex, but I'd love to write a book about menopause. And they're like, yeah, sure, do that. And so I always tell people like that's not a normal author journey of you just telling the publisher what you want to write about. So that was pretty sweet. Um, and they totally just gave me free reign about wanting to write about it. So it's called The Menopause Moment, and it's hormones, science, and mindset for optimal longevity.
I actually, of course, I love that because kind of what a part of what we do is longevity, but like what is probably missing most in this menopause movement is putting it all together, right? Like it's everything. So I'm curious what made you kind of, look at it from all those different angles and kind of include mindset and longevity and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you have to, right? I mean, what I'm able to communicate in a 90-second Instagram reel is not the whole story. And I think people who are skeptical of the movement will see the hormone educators. And again, we're hormone educators because that's our job. We see patients, we take care of them, we prescribe hormones. And most people don't do that, right? So we have a very unique vision that that's actually what we do. But we'll get pigeonholed into being like, you just want people on hormones. And it's like, we understand what hormones do. They're amazing. They help cells function, they help mitochondria function, they help brains function, but they're not everything.
Right.
Right? You can't just take hormones and have nice biceps and love your relationship and have amazing orgasms and be okay with aging, and like it's all the pieces. So I needed a book to really round out the 90-second Instagram blip, which is like, because everybody, on Instagram, they're like, you didn't talk about, and I'm like, it's 90 seconds, you guys. It's 90
Exactly.
seconds. Like, knock
Right.
it off, right? Read a book if you want a bigger thing. And so really it's my answer to like thing you can't get this whole story in a soundbite, right? And hormones aren't everything. But at the same time, going to the gym's not everything,
Right.
and mindset's not everything, right?
Right.
And so it's like none of these things will work by themselves. It really is all of the pieces.
Sometimes I'm like, hormones really are. magical for some people. Like some women can get on it and go, wow, this woke me up. This was what I needed.
Mhm.
And awesome for those people. But a lot of times women will get on it and be like, well, this is still off, or it's not, you're right. It's like there is other things. And unfortunately, um, it is work. I think it's work to age. It's hard work, but it's good work because at the end of the day, how do you want to live like the second half of your life? Is it like
Yeah.
to be great
Well,
or
there's a lot of entitlement that comes with like it should be easy of like, well, but you want to not die in addition to actually like not hurting and not having huge medical bills and getting on the ground and getting back up with your grandkids when you're 76,
Mhm.
right? Like, yeah, that takes work, but I guess I'm sick of the narrative that like it takes work and therefore, like, of course it's hard. Like, who gave birth and said, "Hey, here's life, it's easy." Right? Like people are like they're so disillusioned with reality when they say things like that.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Okay, so let's get into it. First question, Barb is talking about testosterone. A hormone doctor told me that do not get testosterone injections, which is what I wanted, and only to do cream or pellet. That's interesting. Why is she saying that? I'll let you answer that. What's your thoughts on just
Yeah.
testosterone?
Yeah. Two things. Number one, this is not individual medical advice. This is a nice casual conversation. So we always want to say that out loud. And then number two, Barb, I don't know. I cannot speak for what other people are thinking. That's not how brains work. But I truly believe that a comprehensive hormone specialist has all options on the menu and can have a conversation with you of why they prefer some things over others. Um, they all have risks and benefits. They all have ease of use and annoyances. They all have different cost issues. They all have different like average serum testosterone levels. And so, my big question is like, why did you go in saying you wanted injections? More than likely, it's because a friend liked them or a sister liked them or something, right? But be open to what your expert says. And if your expert says there's only one thing, that's usually, I call them a one trick pony, right? They're usually making money off of that one thing. And so that's when you're going to see somebody else. But the big 10,000 foot view is testosterone is very difficult in America currently because we do not have an FDA approved testosterone dose. That's number one reason. Number two reason is even with all of the amazing telehealth companies that we have, because testosterone is DEA restricted, it's tough to go across state lines because of multiple DEA licensing requirements. That's more than the average person wants to know, but I want people to understand that testosterone specifically has its own challenges. Besides the fact that, when we say hormone therapy, most people aren't thinking about testosterone, which is why we've renamed it PET therapy for precision endocrine therapy or progesterone, estrogen, testosterone therapy to really get rid of the stigma of what hormone therapy or MHT or HRT, the dogma that comes with that, including the dogma that perimenopausal women can't get hormones,
Mm,
right? So renaming it pet therapy kind of changes the conversation.
I love that. Um, I can tell you, one of my pet peeves is in this industry how we kind of not we, but there are a lot of like fear and a lot of like this is the only way and that kind of thing that confuses women. And I think
Mhm.
it's a struggle because we all know women have been underserved. There was a study that kind of ruined it for a few decades, and now we're kind of just like in this new movement, but like real rules and haven't been established. Real protocols have not necessarily been like out there. So there is a lot of confusion. And what bothers me is when someone's like, you can't do this, you have to do it this way. This is the only way. Because, like, for instance, I will say, like, we don't really believe in pellets. We don't do pellets. But I also know people who love them and they're life changing for them. So I will never like
Mhm.
shame someone. If it works for them, then that's like, that is great. It's not going to work for everybody. That's why we need personalized medicine. And that's why you need to find a doctor that you're comfortable with. And, if you're not, then you need to search around until you find something that just really works for you. And there is also like a testing out period of like, how's your dose? What do we need to change? Maybe you start on a cream first and see how that does. And then if that doesn't work, you could switch to an injection or something else. So just
Yep.
my
I
soapbox.
love I love all that.
Okay, good. Thank you. Just like we're not here to be fearful or say you have to do one way, but like obviously Kelly has been in practice and know what works for a lot of women. So okay, I'm currently on HRT and I have a lot of positive results, but also really big fluctuations in cycle and spotting. Is there an adjustment period? Okay, how long does it take usually?
Yeah. Well, adjustment period with bleeding can be 3 to 6 months for
Mhm.
people. So yeah, absolutely. You're giving your body hormones that it didn't have before. So it's adjusting, but I'm also just the way you wrote your question, you're probably in perimenopause. And remember, perimenopause is a moving target, even not being on hormones, right?
Yeah.
So you have that as the baseline going on in perimenopause.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
perimenopause is tricky, not for everybody, but
Yeah.
perimenopause is for everybody. Sadly, we all go through it, but it's not it's not smooth sailing by
No.
any means. And I
I mean, I
think
always say that like I have all the things. I have access to all the things. I'm deep in perimenopause, really very close to menopause. And I still struggle even though I do all the things. So it's yeah, it's out there. So she
yeah,
wants to know what you specifically think about pellets.
yeah. Well, I actually wrote an Oprah Daily article about it, so you can go check it out. It's about pellets. If you just Google it, Oprah Daily Casperson pellets, you'll find about it. And basically, I said you have to. I believe you have to earn your pellet. And what do I mean by that? I mean that it's the most expensive, the least reversible, and the most invasive form of testosterone.
Yeah.
Right? Those are downsides, but those are can be upsides to some people. So if you get a pellet put in and it's too high, you can't take it out. You're waiting 3 to 4 months for that to wear down. Number two, most of us would like to be postmenopause for about 40 years. Great. Are you going to pay that much for 40 years straight and get an incision in your butt for 40 years straight? Most women haven't thought about that. They're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. I'm like, I know you haven't thought about that. And then number three, insurance doesn't cover it. So it's the most expensive way. So it's the highest dose, most expensive, most invasive. But like Katie said, some people need higher levels of hormones. So, but that doesn't mean we start everybody at high levels of
Right.
hormones, right? Start everybody slow, increase slow, let them adapt. If you get a woman on testosterone and she's like, you know what, I'm actually kind of happier on a higher dose. I haven't had any side effects. I'd like to just plug and play and not have to dose this daily or weekly. Like that's a pellet person, right? And you can move her to a pellet. But starting people off and saying pellets the only thing I do, why is the highest dose the only thing you do? And some pellet people will say they dose lower, but my God, I've seen plenty of people who say they dose lower, and then women are coming in with testosterones of 500, which is a happy male level. So
Yeah.
it's got variable absorption.
Right.
And so to me, I'm like, earn your pellet. Don't let that be the first thing you do. But
Yeah.
there's the other school of thought is pellets are dangerous and we should ban them. Listen, we've been inserting testosterone pellets in women's sides since 1940.
Wow.
They're not going away. They've been around forever.
Wow.
Like they do solve some people's problems. So I'm not into like ban the pellet by any means, but if a provider only does pellets, I tend to call them one trick ponies.
Yeah, yeah. And I will also like give some of those people the benefit of the doubt. Like that was what was really more widely available first, right? So it's like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like that like some company got like, hey, we're doing this, got it out to all these different doctors that, and then trained them on how to do it. And so that was like kind of one of the first things that was out there
Well,
for a
they
while.
were, yeah. I mean, why do pellets exist? Because women are suffering and they want to seek help from their suffering,
Yeah,
right? Like they're not FDA approved. Uh, so just people should know that. People should be. I like this is what I like. I like a woman to be fully informed,
right.
and ideally, it's easier to be fully informed because you can listen to podcasts, you can read my books, blah 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 blah. But it is hard to find a doctor or a provider that's willing to have these conversations with you, especially in a 10-minute doctor visit, right? So it is tricky, and I don't want to be light on how challenging that is for some people.
Right. I mean, at Joy, we do prescribe creams and injections, and there's 16 states that won't let us ship them to, but the rest of the states we can ship testosterone to. I'm curious, I'm curious your thoughts on levels. It's a very tricky. question, what's the best level? And really, usually we go off of how you feel, but I don't know if there's any studies or anything that say you need to stay under, otherwise it's dangerous. Do you have any information on ideal levels?
Yeah, so there's no ideal level, meaning I need to get every woman to 64, right? Like, don't think of it like that. And the other problem with labs is that what is, I use air quote, normal by Quest or LabCorp is a very large range, meaning normal in Quest goes down to two,
Okay.
right? No testosterone expert's going to say a woman who has a testosterone of 2 has a normal level, right? But it's very similar to male, right? Male normal goes down to 300. You're not going to see a guy with 302 and tell him he's got a normal testosterone. That's the lowest two standard deviations, right? So you need somebody who can interpret lab values, number one. And I see time and time again, a woman's like, I got my testosterone checked. It was 8. They told me it was normal. Can I try testosterone? Right? It's like, so what's normal on a lab is not what's optimal physiologically. And where the studies are for low sexual desire, we'll use low sexual desire, but there's other studies also, is high normal physiologic. So that means high double digits or very low triple digits. When I start seeing women over 150, I start seeing hair loss, acne, mood changes, voice changes. So you're going to start getting masculine side effects when, and that's my clinical experience. I'd say 150. There are some women who like riding around 200. 250, you're definitely going to start seeing masculizing side effects. And this is where people again, they don't understand is like 250 for a day, fine. 250 for 3 years, masculinizing side effects. And
Hmm.
we have amazing trans data, right? How long if you give a female body male dose testosterone, do they look like a man tomorrow?
No.
No. Do
They
they
both
look like a
actually
man
feel
in,
good for a few days.
yeah, they're gonna feel great, right? But they're gonna be like, it's not working, right?
Right.
It takes a while to get the side effects, right? And so that's when people are like, oh, I'm fine at 250. Can I keep going? And I'm like, well, over time, you're probably gonna give yourself some male side effects. It takes a while to transition,
Hmm.
right? So that's the very long answer to be like, labs are not perfect. What time of day did you apply your testosterone? How many hours afterwards did you get your lab check? Like, there's so many nuances, which is why everybody's like, I'm so confused. I can't find what my lab normal. It's like because you need an expert to interpret all that. Like if you come back with a high testosterone, but you put your testosterone product on an hour before you got your lab checked, like that's going to be a peak,
Right.
right? Or if you're like, I'm on testosterone and I feel great, but you got your lab check 8 hours after your testosterone, that's a trough,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? And so it's like you have to understand how you're feeling, what your dose is, when did you get it checked, that labs themselves, you get a crazy lab value, recheck it, right?
Yeah.
Like people behave like labs are the Ten Commandments. Labs are a tool.
Right.
Labs are a tool. Labs can be wrong, right? And so to me, I like usually women are like, yep, I can tell testosterone's kind of nice. High double digits, low triple digits.
Yep.
It's pretty rare that I'm going to see somebody be bothered by side effects under 150.
Right. I gotta say, it is tricky as someone who has a clinic with clinicians because I had someone reach out to me personally. She's like, I got really upset because your clinician told me I need to lower it. She was at a 200, right around 200. And she was like, I am not effing lowering my testosterone because I feel so good. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, it's a difficult conversation sometimes to have. And um
Well, so what I would do in that situation is I'd say, you feel great. You don't have side effects. I'm going to document that. Let's recheck this in a couple of months. Let's make sure you're not going any higher. Let's recheck it 5 hours after you dosed instead of right after you dosed. Right. And it's like I said, some people do better at higher levels and they don't have side effects. I would let her ride there. But you're going
right.
to follow her over time. You're going to say side effects can take a while to develop. But I wouldn't automatically, it's like, is there
It
anything
can
inherently
work, right.
dangerous about 200? No.
Okay. Yep, that's a great viewpoint. And that's why, again, it's important to have someone that you're checking in with, you know, checking your symptoms. How are you feeling? checking your labs every once in a while. And you
Yeah.
can, that's what you need to do. You need to adjust it, you adjust it.
Yeah. And
Um,
I mean, I spend a lot of time getting people off of pellets,
mm,
right? For whatever reason. It was too high. I didn't like that, blah, 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 blah. It's just the financially not sustainable, whatever it is. And so it's like, I'm not going to let a pellet person bottom out. They're going to feel shitty,
right,
right? So it's like, you're going to keep them a little bit higher so that they have a soft landing to a new normal instead of just being like, wait for that to wear off and then I'm going to rise you back up.
right,
So it's really, it's good to have as best of a trained clinician as you can. Mark my word, we've got a couple of companies going forward for FDA approved female testosterone. When that happens, the conversation will change
that's
into
awesome.
because it's just going to normalize everything. I'm still
Right,
going to use the cheap stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's going to really normalize. It's going to explode the conversation,
right.
basically. So it's not testosterone's not going away.
Yay.
I truly I think testosterone is the missing piece for dementia prevention.
Oh, well, that's huge. That's a
Yeah,
huge.
all studies point to it.
When you say that, I want to play devil's advocate because when you look at Alzheimer's, like you hear so many different ways that that's caused, right? So testosterone is a newer one that I'm hearing from you, but also like blood sugar, drinking. There's a lot of different things that cause it. Is that correct?
Oh,
It
totally. Yeah, yeah,
it seems like women are more prone to it though than men. Is that also true?
yeah. Why is that
Hormones?
hormones?
Hormones. Interesting.
So I agree. Exercise, don't drink, keep your blood sugar, but testosterone's the not discussed. And testosterone's a neurohormone. Like
Mm,
it repairs glial cells.
mhm.
Right. It's higher in women who have less rates of dementia. Like it's in men, we have a direct correlation. Men with low testosterone have higher rates of dementia. Like the data is staring at us in the face. And
Wow.
we're just not using it.
Wow. That's really cool. And it helps with inflammation as well, right?
Yep.
Mm. And what's crazy too is like it sometimes seems like everywhere I turn, and I don't know if I'm in the industry, it's like testosterone everywhere for men and women. And it's like, what is happening? Why are we lower than we should be? And I don't know if you think that's just related to like modern lifestyle or if it's women have been on birth control forever and that lo can lower your testosterone. True?
Yeah, I think all of the above. And there's a natural decrease with age that happens. So,
Yeah.
we always ask like we try to figure out what we try to explain things when like living long is actually completely not natural,
Mm,
right? Like, why don't we have normal testosterone when we're 80? Because for 200,000 years we died before we were 80. Like it wasn't important, right? And so I think we try to like explain away these things of like, dude, this is aging. We can choose to treat it so we feel well, or we can realize the data, right? Like average life expectancy, like in the 1400s in Britain was 47. Like
wow.
we have the option of going through perimenopause.
Wow.
So,
That's
and I talk about that a lot in the book coming up because we spend so much time hand wringing, forgetting the fact that like we've never as a society lived 40 years without gonads before. Like
mm.
this is brand new. But
And
we
we
didn't
have
know
all,
that. We weren't alive in the 1800s. We forget they died, they died when they were 52.
yeah, and we have all these drugs to extend our life, but then it's like, well, now how's that life that you've extended? Like, is it worth
Yeah.
it? Like,
The data on antibiotics is the antibiotics alone, which came out 100 years ago. The data on antibiotics alone is increased life expectancy by 16 years per person.
antibiotics. Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
Game antibiotics are a game changer.
Whoa,
Game changer.
because our infections or would kill us
You
basically
you
before.
die from a finger infection.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
that's
so it's really, and that's the mindset piece of this whole thing, right? Of like realizing what an incredible gift this is, and then a
mm,
gift to do it right, versus
mm.
like, why does our testosterone go down naturally when we're 50? Mother Nature didn't care that you were 50, right? Like it got some babies out and it died of an infection. Like, so that's the mindset because if you don't have that and we sit around being like, why is our body shitty? Like it's really a negative way to live through life of like, oh my God, if I somehow I made it to 47, this is great. What do I want to do about it?
Right. Okay. So Minnie's saying that she's was suffering from depression. As soon as she got on testosterone, she started feeling better motivation, energy levels, more happy. Testosterone, she's read that that's a happy hormone. Is that true? The level of testosterone and happy hormones are usually in negative correlation.
Disagree. I
Oh.
don't know what the hell you're reading, Manny. So testosterone and estrogen help support serotonin and dopamine. Like they help neurotransmitters. And we know, but in any gender, testosterone helps mood. Dr. Louise Newsom's got some amazing abstracts that came out this year looking at not only testosterone helping mood, but the addition of adding testosterone and getting women off their antidepressants if
Mm,
they so choose.
right.
So I think that's, I'm pretty good at guessing trends. I've been guessing trends for a while, but deprescribing and antidepressants I think is coming. You can't have 25% of American midlife women on these drugs without a serious reckoning of what the hell are we doing.
Yes.
So, and I think it's been too fragile of a conversation because people the people will be like, some people need antidepressants. 100%. Completely agree.
Right.
Use them if appropriate. Does 25% of American women in midlife need to be on antidepressants? Most people will say no,
Or does
right?
hormones, does hormone balancing your hormones help? Do all these other things.
Yeah,
The mindset, everything.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I think we're using antidepressants inappropriately. And I think that conversation is starting to happen, especially as the hormone conversation is starting to happen. Because
Right.
people are like, and women will say it. Women will be like, I knew I wasn't depressed,
Right.
right? Like
Yep.
they'll say that, but the doctor will just give them antidepressants.
Yep.
So yeah, I think many to support you that what you're feeling is very real. People get their hormones back and their brains function better. And if you push your testosterone up too high, that's where anger can be. But if you really look at the testosterone researchers, what do they say? So they say testosterone brings out who you are.
Oh.
So if you're a happy person, here comes a little more happy. If you're an angry person, here comes a little more angry. Now that's of course more nuanced than that, but the stereotype that testosterone causes anger is not true universally at all. And I think testosterone gets incorrectly maligned for that stereotype
Yeah.
more than people are like how many men get on testosterone and they're like, oh my God, like I'm more loving, I'm more present, I'm more of a dad, right? It's
Yeah.
like the testosterone gets the stereotype of anger, but it's really not appropriate for most people.
It's really about your levels. Is it, like
Mhm.
you said, if you're too low or too high, you'll have symptoms. And so it's finding your right level
Yeah,
of anything, really
of
anything.
anything. Yeah, I mean, like how many women have like a woman gets on too high of an estrogen thing and they're like, I was just crying all the time. And then so
Yeah.
do we go around saying estrogen makes you sad? Like,
Right.
no, no, we
Right.
say your estrogen levels were too high.
Right.
Right. So it's like I'm very protective of like, don't give these hormones more power than what they actually deserve.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about antidepressants and women getting upset or sad, more sad in midlife, I want to talk about progesterone because I will tell you for me, I was low 40s and oh my God, my anxiety for some reason, I was like a happy, normal person. And then for some reason, all of a sudden I was like so anxious. I couldn't even, I remember being on a plane and going, I'm going to be the crazy person who stands up and says, get me off the plane while we're up in 30,000 feet. I was like so, something, I
It's
was
so
so,
so scary.
so,
Isn't it
and
awful? It's
it's
awful. People don't
awful.
understand how consuming anxiety can be.
Oh, it's awful. And but I will tell you the first night I took progesterone, I felt like a sigh. I slept through the night and I swear that just like I will not miss a night because I really believe it helps me with my anxiety. So I want to talk about that because it's
Progesterone's awesome.
an important hormone. I want to see what you thought about that. We do have a question from Hannah where she says her doctor said she doesn't need to take it. She wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, that's a stereotype that I think is changing. The stereotype is you only needed it for the uterus, which is a complete lack of knowledge of how biology works, by the way. Like we have progesterone receptors in many different body parts. It's not just, we don't just have progesterone receptors in our uterus. So, but the stereotype is if you've had a hysterectomy, you don't need progesterone with your estrogen because the uterine lining needs both to stay healthy. So they got all these women with hysterectomies and they're like, can I have some progesterone? Because I hear it's good for sleep. And they're like, nope, you don't need it. You can't have it. And it's like, that's bullshit.
That's the
Like,
system just saying we don't really care how you feel. Right?
right.
That's for
Yeah,
women.
yeah. And like progesterone is dirt cheap, has minimal side effects, helps you sleep like a freaking champion,
Right.
is like incredibly safe. Like
Yeah.
micronized progesterone is incredibly safe.
Right.
And so I'm like, dude, the downside to trying it is but $5 out of your pocket. Like it's really cheap, cheap stuff.
Now, there
It's
is
great for sleep.
some people that have bad reactions, right, to
Some
progesterone.
people, yeah, but like 5% of progesterone intolerance. It's probably because of the way it's manufactured and that the only product available in America that's natural, that is what our ovaries make, is oral micronized progesterone. And it's a big dump. Like it goes in, we would love an extended release version. The extended release version probably doesn't give people the bloating, the GI side effects. But for the majority of people, it's great. And the reason why it's great is it gets metabolized in the liver to GABAergic, basically neurotransmitters that go into the brain, and it helps anxiety, it helps sleep, it helps mood.
Yeah.
And that's what oral does. Transdermal, like creams, you can get creams on Amazon and compounded stuff. There's some companies that sell that. Can help with hot flashes. Not saying it doesn't help with some menopause things, but the serum levels aren't enough to protect the uterus. So again, if you don't have a uterus, who cares? But it's really the fact that you swallow it and it goes through the liver and gets metabolized. That's where the brain stuff comes from.
Mm. I can tell you, I do both
Mhm.
immediate release and I do a dose of extended, which because
Mhm.
I can tell the extended helps during the day
Yeah,
with my anxiety. But
compounded.
yeah, I do. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for
compounded.
sure.
Yeah,
It's compounded. I think that's the only way you can get it, right? The
yeah.
extended release.
Mhm. In America.
Yeah. But again, different for everybody on what would feel good or
Mhm.
what would work for you. What else? Okay, estrogen levels too. We have some questions on that. Is there a protective, like a you need to get over a certain amount to be protective? We know estrogen can
Yeah,
help with
yeah.
all that.
It's an interesting conversation because it is evolving. Even like a year ago, people were like, "Don't check levels, doesn't matter." And that's changed pretty fast for two reasons. Number one, if I give me a patch and you a patch, same
Right.
patch dose, we're going to absorb differently just based upon how our skin is, right? And so if people are saying, "Oh, you're on a high dose, but you're still having hot flashes, you can't have anymore," you might be a poor absorber, right? You
Mm,
might actually need a higher dose to get into your system. Same thing as testosterone. Labs fluctuate. You check it 4 times in one day, you're probably going to get 4 different labs. So take them all with a grain of salt. But if you're like, I'm still having symptoms, am I not absorbing? That's a reason to check. But now we're starting to say, listen, and I got to give everybody a range. Men have a level, and this is American level. Men have a level between 30 and 40. That's
okay.
a man's estradiol. Post menopause, when your ovaries are done, you're making less than 30. So an adult male has more estradiol in their system than an adult female who's not on hormones. And I need everybody to let that sink in. That's how little estrogen the female body has, less than a man's. And the man needs his estrogen for what? Sex drive, bone health, brain health, right? So if we talked about hormones that way,
Right.
people's minds would flip because the low dose estrogen patch hardly gets you above postmenopausal levels. But the
Mhm.
difference between like an undetectable woman and a woman at 15, she feels much better,
Mm,
right? So a little bit of estrogen goes a long way. But now let's say you're looking to build bone. Let's say you've got osteopenia, got osteoporosis, whatever it might be. To build bone, you're probably needing to be 60 to 100.
okay.
So even if we give you a patch and your hot flashes went better, if you care to be optimizing as far as bone health goes, you probably need more. Now, your bones are going to love 15 more than they're going to love 0. So it's like every little bit helps. But the conversation is changing to where are you at? Are you at least 60 so we can get the bone health there? Now, what do we need for brain protection? What do we need for heart protection? What do we need so we don't need as much vaginal estrogen? We don't know. We don't know. And it might be different for everybody because labs don't tell you how many estrogen receptors you have. How sensitive are your estrogen receptors? How fast do you metabolize things? Right? Like a true expert knows that just a lab, it's not telling you like six other things that are important.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to overwhelm people. I'm saying that to be like, don't think a lab is the Ten Commandments.
Right.
Like it's a guidepost, but we are checking labs now more than even a couple of years ago when we're like, don't check, you feel better, you're great.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of the tools, just like, testosterone's a tool, just like everything is, mindset's one part of it. It's all like helpful. The more information you have, I think the more you can make informed decisions. I also think with labs, how we use them too is there's a ton of other shit that we look at. Like it's not just your sex hormones. Thyroid, we see so many, like we weren't talking about thyroid when we started Joy 4 years ago, but then we noticed like probably 70% of our, perimenopausal, menopausal women have thyroid issues. So the full thyroid panel is also like we think very important to check. Especially if you're on HRT and you're like, it's not, something's off, it's not working. Like, what else can I
Yep.
do? Like,
Yep.
let's look. How is your liver? How is your thyroid? How's your inflammation? Like, there's a
Yep.
lot of other
Oh,
things.
like ferritin levels. Okay, so 50% of midlife women, this is not on hormones, just if you just take 50% of midlife women, 50% have issues with hair loss.
Wow.
Like it's huge and it's not worked up, right? Like check thyroid, check ferritin. Are you anemic?
Right.
How's your vitamin D? How's your B12? So it is really and it's an interesting conversation right now because there's a lot of people who want to gatekeep labs. Like, oh, it's not necessary. Like, yes, it's not air quote necessary, but
Right.
are we here just to be necessary, right? Or do you want to be like optimized and find things before you get sick? Like it's really taking healthcare and saying, I want to be as healthy as I can to try to not get sick instead of the paradigm which has been come back when you're more sick.
Oh, 100%. By the way, you're speaking my language because this is like why we believe healthcare. We call it sick care because that's just how it's set up. Like insurance companies will not pay for a ginormous lab where you test. I mean, we've literally sent in our big lab thing that's 110 biomarkers. People say my insurance will cover it. Check that box, and then they'll get a bill for like $3,000, and it's like, ugh, like
Yeah,
it's so
yeah. We like
frustrating.
we told you so. They were going to cover it.
It's like they don't look at healthcare the way I think there's a new movement that's changing that because I think people are demanding better. I think it's awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
if that's it. Okay. What else? I want to ask about a couple things. One is this
Ask Lucy's question.
yes, I was going to say this is perimenopausal women. If you're on birth control, how do you
Oh,
if
is
you
that a different? Do we have two Lucys? You ask
oh,
your question. I'll
I'm
make sure
looking
that
at
I'm
I'm
not
looking
going to
at
skip you, Lucy. I won't let Katie
okay.
skip you. It's a
No,
good
no, no.
question,
Let's talk.
Lucy.
Let's talk about Lucy's 63-year-old with everything intact. Start H. We've got several questions on age and HRT. Is it too?
It's very hot right now.
Is it
So if you
late?
go to my podcast, there's two episodes. The first one's called The Boomer Should Be Pissed, and it's a while back. And then the other one is me and Corinne Men, and we are discussing Susan Davis's 2023 or 2024 paper on this, which is phenomenal. So go check out both of those episodes. In addition, I just finished up my summer school. I did 5 courses and they were free if you could make it. And if you couldn't make it, you can now buy them online. And it's the last one. So I did 5. I thought testosterone was going to be the most popular. And my too old for hormones was actually the most popular, more popular than testosterone
Whoa.
because the boomers are pissed. So you can go on my website now and you can buy that and listen to it. And so basically, I delivered the thesis. Here's the thesis. what are we worried about? Why are we telling women greater than 10 years postmenopause that they can't start hormones? We're worried about three main things: dementia, cardiovascular risk, blood clot, and stroke. Blood clot, you can put it into stroke category or heart category, wherever you want to put it. So those are the three main reasons, right? So I go through the data and I say, what data do we have that putting you on a transdermal estradiol is actually going to cause dementia for you? We have no great data on that. And mixed data on conjugated equine estrogen, right? Some good, some bad. It's mixed. But mixed data is not a reason to not put a woman on hormones. Okay, done with that one. Okay, now why can't we start a woman 10 years? This is long, but like for people who get this, this you need to have the knowledge so you can advocate for yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Next one, cardiovascular disease. Do we have any data that says starting a woman 10 years postmenopause on a transdermal estradiol is going to give her worse heart disease? No. Even conjugated equine estrogen, the WHI data, no worse cardiovascular disease at 18-year follow-up,
Wow.
published in 2018. Okay, last one, stroke clot. That'll be the other reason. Well, I can't give you hormones because you're 10 years postmenopause. I'm going to give you clot. What's the risk of clot with a transdermal estradiol 0.05 or less dose compared to baseline? No increased risk of clot or stroke. Okay, so why are we worried about giving women hormones greater than 10 years postmenopause?
We don't care how they feel.
We don't care how because we don't care how they feel. And the other myth is they'll say the hormones won't do anything for you now. That is true in the I probably can't give you the heart protective, brain protective effects of hormones if I start you at age 50. You've probably lost that if you're now 73. I'm not going to protect you from anything. Okay, fair. Is that a reason to not give you hormones? No, hormones will always protect your bones. Hormones will always help you sleep. Hormones will always help you with your mood. Hormones will always decrease your risk of diabetes, right? So when people say, I'm not going to give you hormones because they won't do anything for you, what I'm hoping they mean is, well, I'm not going to give you the protective preventative benefits as if I started you when you were in perimenopause or 50,
Right.
because I really hope they don't mean hormones won't work. I think I just did a post on this yesterday of like, there isn't like a birthday where hormones stop working.
Right.
Like hormones makes
Someone made one up though. Someone said you can't have it 10 years after menopause. I don't know who that
who
was.
who said that?
I don't know who
Go
that
into it. Who said that? Nobody said that. The Menopause Society, after the WHI, said the benefits outweigh the risks age less than 10 years postmenopause. Which is a strong statement. Benefits outweigh the risks.
Right.
It's a very strong statement. And the best data we have for benefits outweigh the risk is in that age range.
Mm,
They didn't say you can't have it 10 years after. But
mm.
people took that statement and said you can't have it 10 years after. That's not what they said. They said benefits outweigh the risk. That's like a certainty statement. Benefits outweigh the risk within 10 years.
Okay.
That's very different than you can't be on it 10 years after. That's a different statement.
Totally.
Nobody said that statement.
Totally. Yeah. We went,
And the other thing of why we are changing it to PET therapy instead of HRT is because when I say you can't have hormones 10 years postmenopause, what do you think I mean? You think I mean estrogen. Oral micronized progesterone, any age, testosterone, any age, vaginal hormones, any age.
right.
We're literally arguing about estrogen, which with transdermal estradiol therapy, the risk goes way, way down.
Mm.
So I
I,
think in the next, about 1/3 of my clinic is women in their 70s.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
I think
big.
in the next 5 years, age greater than 10 years, like we're hurting people more.
Yeah.
And again, like when I say HRT, you think I mean estrogen. Don't forget progesterone, testosterone, vaginal estrogen. No age limit for those.
All right. Well, there you have it. There is no age limit. Um, it's a decision between you and your provider. Go through all of your health history, all of your, risks, all that, and then you decide, but there is no age limit. That's insane. That is a total myth that's been out there for so long. So there,
It's just science and facts, and you just have to know it, and you just have to like digest it, and then you're like, oh, so I do that very well in an hour. If anybody want, like, go onto my website, I got that, and I have two free podcasts on it, and I have a whole chapter in the book, The Menopause Moment, coming out in two
yeah.
weeks, and it's called the chapter is literally called "The Boomer Should Be Pissed."
Amazing. Tessa, will you put the link to, we can pre-order the book, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's put that
Ideally,
link
pre-order it. It's a thank you to the authors if you pre-order it.
Let's put that link on there, and then we can put the Kristen, thank you for posting the podcast too, because there's a lot of great stuff there. Perfect. Thank you. And then okay, so I'm gonna go back to this question. Perimenopausal women are on birth control. How do you do birth control and HRT? Is that a weird
Yeah,
intersection? Can you do both?
you can do both. Um, the big question is, why are you on birth control? Birth control is a different medication than pet therapy, much higher dose and synthetic. It's got different risks and benefits. On hormone therapy, pet therapy, you can get pregnant on that. And actually, you can get pregnant better on that than a perimenopausal woman not on any hormones because the body likes hormones.
Yeah.
They actually will use some of those in fertility, right? Like you can give women testosterone. Testosterone is actually pro fertility. It helps eggs be released.
Testosterone
So
or progesterone? What did you say? Testosterone?
testosterone.
Okay.
So birth control is really good for two things. Number one, protecting yourself from sperm. You need to protect yourself from sperm, protect yourself from sperm. Hormone replacement therapy does not do that. Birth control does that, or vasectomy, ideally hormone free. So, birth control is good for protecting yourself from sperm. Birth control is good for really heavy periods. I remember about 20% of perimenopausal women will have really heavy periods. So that's what birth control is very good for. The hormone experts don't tend to use birth control as first line therapy for perimenopausal hormone symptoms because birth control, because it's high dose synthetic, doesn't help perimenopause symptoms all that well, except for heavy periods. It's good for that. And birth control is also good just for kind of like flattening out the crazy roller coaster of perimenopause.
Mm.
Um, but it's not HRT. I think the most common combo of birth control and hormones is being on a vaginal estrogen product because HRT or birth control can cause a GSM sort of picture down in the vulva. So that's like well known that you can do that.
Mm.
Um, so that's the thing is why are you on birth control? Are you on it for a birth control reason? Um,
Right.
and do you want to be? So birth control, the risks of blood clot continues to go up with age. They usually recommend getting off of birth control by about 55 because the risk of clot just keeps going up.
Okay.
And by 55, it's kind of a miracle baby if you get
You
pregnant.
probably don't need it at 55.
You probably don't. 55 is a very good it was meant to happen. Sorry if it happened. It's very rare. When the celebrities do it, they've had help, my friends.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay, how about we got some questions about vaginal rectal use of both progesterone and testosterone. Testosterone gel topically on skin versus vaginally. So we're talking about
Yeah.
vaginal stuff, progesterone and
So
testosterone.
if you're using a male testosterone gel, don't put it on your mucosa. It can sting. It's a gel. It's not developed for vaginal epithelium. Not recommended. The vulva and vagina have a lot of testosterone receptors, and you tend to get really good absorption down there. So that's the other reason not to dose a systemic testosterone product on those tissues is because you're going to get a much higher dose doing that, and that's not how they were designed. So it's kind of in this niche that nobody knows where it's coming from. Like, who's telling women to put their testosterone on their vulva for systemic use? We'll compound a testosterone product on the vulva for clitoral atrophy to try to regrow labia minora that's become atrophic, like very specific sex med issues. But it's not recommended to do a systemic product on those tissues because you're probably going to get a much higher dose than you want, or it should be dosed appropriately.
Mm,
So really no big societies recommending that, but we're seeing it a lot.
okay. What do you think about the HRT. Enza's saying she got off. She's postmenopausal. She got off her HRT because she was noticing weight gain. Should she go back on? Do you think HRT causes weight gain or is that something else?
If you look at just midlife women, midlife humans, this is all men as well, and not on hormones. They slowly gain weight with age for multiple reasons. And so I think some people start on HRT and like I just had a woman, she just did not tolerate the progesterone. She got tons of water weight. It legitimate. It was her progesterone. Right. And I think that it is quite common that all three of these hormones support lean body mass.
Mm,
So you might see a couple of pounds go up. Also, some water weight because it holds in moisture. Right.
mm,
So you might see some weight gain, but it shouldn't be like a 10 pound, a 15 pound, a 30. To me, I'm like, what's going on metabolically? Were you screened for diabetes? You have a thyroid issue going on. The hormones don't tend to cause like that extreme weight gain. I
yeah.
would say something else is going on then. But yeah, I'll tell people, I'm like, hey, you might put on a couple of pounds. But most of my women, like, they don't have a lot of muscle. Like,
Mm.
we actually want them to put on more lean body mass.
Oh yeah. Muscle
And that's
is
why I like, plug to the in-person clinics, or if you can get an in-body scan from your gym of like actually measuring that, because muscle
yeah,
is correlated with length of life and brain health.
yes.
So it's incredibly important. And I really do think we need to change. Like I'm almost to the point of cringy when people talk about weight gain at this point, because I'm like, are you talking about fat gain? 'Cause that's
Right,
very different than lean body mass gain.
right.
And they're completely different conversations.
Yeah. You want
But
that whole
I mean, testosterone works. Why they just published a study that a woman after hip fracture, testosterone versus placebo, that women on testosterone were 50% less likely to use a cane or a walker 6 months after breaking a hip. Why? Increase core muscle strength. Right. So for you to think that the hormones aren't going to cause any weight gain when what they actually do is build lean body mass is like,
Yeah. So that's why, again, like the working out is like really something great to do with your hormones, help build that muscle, help lose that, like, what do you call it? The visceral fat that we get when
mhm.
we get older. So
Yeah.
just its body composition changes. I can tell you, I'm at a hotel right now and I just toured it we just checked in today and there's an in-body scan in the weight room. So I'm excited to
No
get on and
way.
see how I'm doing.
That's fun.
Yes, love it. Okay, we
Do
have,
it if you can do it fasted in the morning.
oh, fasted in the morning. That makes a difference. Okay.
That's what they recommend.
And then there's a certain, it tells you basically percentage of muscle versus fat, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
That's what,
Mhm.
okay, we'll see. I'm hoping for good
Dude,
results.
you work out like a badass. You're gonna be fine.
Honestly, I started probably a year or two ago doing heavy weights and I effing love it now. But,
Yeah.
before that I didn't. And I remember my first few workouts with our trainer, I was like, holy shit, I thought I was in good shape. But, I felt awful like the
Yeah.
first.
No, we're weak. Weak. Everybody's weak at baseline.
You gotta like do it. You gotta lift heavy stuff and women are not used to that. And so I don't know. I just love that I know go to a trainer a couple times a week and I do it with a group so it's more affordable, but I love it now. It gives
Oh,
you me so
dude,
much.
feeling strong is a
Yeah.
very badass feeling.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. One last question. Amy's asking, she's on a patch twice weekly. When do I check my labs? Would you say?
Yeah. Well, you should be at a steady state when you're on twice weekly patch.
Okay. So no
Yeah.
big deal either way there.
Shouldn't be a big deal.
Okay.
There might be a little bit of variation when you throw on a new patch, but I think they're pretty much at a steady state at that point.
Okay. Amazing. So we have Kelly's pre-order link there and your podcast. Uh, um, we've posted some other things. And Tessa, if you want to post like a free health coach link, we can do that for people too. We're going to repost this. So, and then we'll have a summary email too. So if for those that, need more time or want to share it, we'll do that. And then we also want to talk about, we're going to do an in-person event in LA to celebrate your book launch.
We're
I'm
gonna be so LA.
We're going to be in LA. So look for that, guys. We'll send you guys out an invite for that, whoever's in the area or whoever, loves to travel for that kind of stuff. Mid-September in LA, we're going to meet Kelly in person. So we're really excited about that.
Yay!
Yay! Kelly, thank you so much. You obviously are crazy busy, so this was such an honor to have you. We really, really appreciate you so much.
Well, thanks for your support and thanks for wanting women to feel better and thanks
Yeah.
for supporting women. Like I'm not here to say everybody needs to be on hormones. I'm here to be like, understand your body, understand what's happening, understand what your options are. And women will make the best decision once they have the information.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, like, one thing, I mentioned before, I hate it when we like lead with fear or try to scare women because I think women are fucking smart. We know what helps, we know how we feel, and we're not stupid. Like, if something's not working, like, we're not going to do it. So, yeah, I think we don't give women enough credit for being able to make those decisions too.
Agreed.
Oh, Kelly,
Thanks for doing your part.
wait, do you do telemedicine? Someone's asking if you do.
No, you have to come to Washington State.
Okay, Washington State. Lucy, you got to go to Washington State. All right. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate you being here.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.